We are, what is it, 9 lines, 10 lines from the top on Mem Zayin. The line begins with Ha'ora Levad. That Bechina of Mitzius is only a Ha'ora of the real thing. An allusion to it, but not the real thing itself. Even by the neshamis, in the state where the neshamis are here below, because neshamis are literally a lakus. But the neshamis, as they hear lamato, mislabish in a guf. Hine hahasogo shalohem. The hasoga, the sense that the neshamis have here below, v'hainu, which would be Yedias Hishtalshalus. The knowing of Hishtalshalus, recognizing how things are Mishtalshal are evolving, so to speak, from their source. This is this seichel element in the lakus as we have it here below. V'chein afilu bekavonas hamitzvos. And even when it comes to kavonas hamitzvos, to understanding the kavona, the intent of the mitzvahs, and kavona mitzvah, the kavona, the intent that one has in doing the mitzvah, where the mitzvah is a real inyan eliki. So when it comes to the ruchnis, to the seichel element, the kavona of what the mitzvah stands for, harei zeh bechinas ha'or chitzenis levad. It is merely a ha'or chitzenis, an external ha'or. It is not that we are becoming with this kavanah mitzvah one with the real mitzvah itself. This is the kavanah chitzenis, how the mitzvah, the element of the mitzvah, reflects itself in the world and reflects itself in our seichel. So this will revisit in a little while. V'chein dur sichliyim. Similarly, going higher, the chilu urchimo ahava v'yira sichliyim. Ahava v'yira sichliyim means the ahava v'yira as it is compelled and defined by seichel. Again, we'll just come back to this in a moment. Hakel hu rag bechinas chitzonius. It is all in all representing a chitzonius element. As it says in the Geras in Tanya, anything that can be sensed in the neshama, even here lemato, it is only on the chitzonius element, because the neshamas are mislabish in a guf, in gashmius, and therefore only the chitzonius can be sensed in the neshama at that point.
Where's the base did? Base Dalet Hey mean?
V'dibar hamaskil.
Divrei Hamaskil.
As I said, we'll bring it to a grasp in a few moments. Utfi says hamahus, the grasping of the mahus, of the real presence of Elokus. Hu rag basi as hamitzvah, that is possible only basi as hamitzvah, in actual performing the mitzvah. Ubelimud guv hahalocha, and in learning guv halacha, the stripped down halacha. Guv halacha means the essential part of the halacha, not the kavanas of the halacha of the mitzvah or the explanations, the sichel in them. The guv halacha, the statement of the halacha, the mitzvah halacha itself. This is amahus. Just for the moment, what is the difference between the guva halacha and the kavanas hamitzvahs? So this we can address right now. The guva halacha, the reason there is such a thing as a halacha, as a statement of do's and don'ts, is that there is a king. It represents directly the principle of a king. Motzurishi. A precise statement of this is it, like we always sense that in Seichel there is never a conclusive statement. This is it. This is the result of this. Therefore it seems, therefore it comes out as such and such. This is only possible in a statement of the king. Because there it is his will and his presence. There you have the mahus of Elokus, the mahus Adova. Now, the Rebbe over there in the Kuntesachrin explains the phenomenal significance of halacha per se, Hashem halachas, of halacha per se, rather than learning any aspect in Torah. Because any aspect in Torah has an inin sichli in it, an inin ruchni in it. Therefore, this is not the essential reality itself. The guv halacha, this says that this is a real mitzvah. Again, perhaps we'll elaborate a little more. In essence, these are not new concepts that were not touched upon previously. And it is explained there in Kuntesachri. The God, the Shomas Atzilus, that even the Shomas of Atzilus. The Shomas of Atzilus means, so Atzilus, we have explained many times, Atzilus, even though it's a world, in the sense that there is a whole Seder, Ishtalshelus, Chochmah, Bina, Das, and all the 10 spheres, throughout the Inyan of Atzilus is what's called the Olam HaElokus. Nothing there obstructs Elokus. That's what the Inyan of Atzilus is. In principle, like we're saying that what is the principle of Chokhmah is to know that there's a first being. This in that there is a first being, this enables, this allows for a seichel perception of things. Since there is a first being, therefore, when you perceive things in seichel, you are not perceiving an imaginary inyan, but yes, there is a basis for it. The motivation, the will of the motivation that this should be, and therefore there's a basis for this seichel. But the seichel itself is a sikhli. So I don't want to go off completely. In every step over here, there's much to be discussed. I just wanted that we should understand the significance of the mitzvah. The mitzvah is not indirectly, but directly referring to the motivation, to the command of the king. This is why the mitzvah is a real mitzvah. And this is what he says that in Tanya, that even the Shomer Atzilus, Mislabshusom begufim, when they are mislabish in a goof, and once it's mislabish in a goof, it can only conceptualize that which the goof can allow it for, can tolerate. Therefore, Eino Masigim Bechinas Hamhuz de Lokus, they are not masig the bechina, the aspect of mahus or lakus, the essential presence of a lakus, kimi dias hametzias levad, only knowing that it exists, of its presence, not the essential presence itself. Every word over here actually deserves a whole shir. Just wanted to refer back to what we said before. Du sichliim, the chilu urchilu sichliim, Abba v'yiro sichliim. Abba v'yiro is that it pertains actually to the heart, not the seichel. It's on the emotive level.
So
then there is what?
From which level?
Emotive, emotion.
Mm-hmm.
But then there is a madrege that's called Abba V'yira Sichliyim, where the Abba V'yira is due to that which is musag, that which is sensed in seichel. The Abba V'yira, the emotional aspect of Abba V'yira, invariably, no matter how pure it is, it involves the presence of the one who possesses that Abba V'yira. How it affects him. The Abba V'yira in Sichliim is way beyond that. This is where the Seichel compels the inyan of Abba V'yira because of the profound truth of Elokus. not by its effect, not by its consequence, but by the truth itself. So Abba Yira Sichliim would appear to be touching and representing the truth of Malakus itself. Yet we say that even there it is also a however. I want to make a point which for the moment will illuminate us. I don't know how long we can retain that. Going back to the principle of the knowledge that is a Motzurish is a first being. First being. First being means there's nothing preceding it. Therefore, the whole question of where is it coming from doesn't apply. We say this is the first being. If we do not have access, like we discussed yesterday, to what is this about? What precedes it? Where is it coming from? What is the cause and effect of it? Then, in what way can we relate to its reality? We have nothing, no logical process that compels us of this knowledge. And the answer is, the explanation is, that logical process that should compel us to find out things pertains only to Chitzonius, only to our reality itself. Defies logical process and does not require logical process. Because of the fundamental of the profound truth and reality of itself. This is the from Motzurish Mamze. Amitis hi Motze nimtze kol hanimtzoi. There is no hasoga in this, because as we explained last night, but the sense of its presence is very real and clear. To demonstrate the principle in this, we're saying there is Chochmah, there's Re'iyah, sight, which is akin to Chochmah. And in sight provides the initial vision, which as like Chochmah, it encompasses an entire panorama. Including this panorama are all kinds of different entities. Like we say, houses, trees, rivers, and so forth, mountains. All the things that are contained within this panorama, within this vision, we see them clearly, they exist. But what provides for their existence, for their presence, it is the panorama itself. This is why we always say that it's a phenomenal thing, that at a glance, in one instant, we can see miles across with everything that's contained in us. How does that happen? The answer is that we don't see things on the basis of their own presence. We see the things on the basis of the fundamental reality of the space that provides for it. This vision of this space, everything needs to be explained. How come it's here? How much place does it take? How does it stand? So forth? Everything has to have some kind of substantiation, except for the fundamental reality itself. That I don't need. What am I seeing? It's just the reality of a place. That reality, like we say always, me'evet chakmeini. We get wisdom from seeing how things are seen from Chitzonius, from Klippa. That space itself is not a creation. It's just there.
That's how we perceive it. It's true.
If it were just there, then we wouldn't see it. This is just an aside. The truth is, there is no such thing as something existing by itself. Everything is a creation. But it's a creation on a completely different level. This is about Chochmah. We say Chochmah. Chochmah refers to and represents Ayin, represents the principal truth itself. Even though it's an action by vision, but it's a vision on a level where the function, the activity of seeing is completely bottled, does not obstruct the reality, and you see the reality itself. This is Chochmah. This is the union from vision. This is the pshat. The chilur chimu sichliyim. If seichel compels the chilur chimu, which means that there is no reason, there's no need to explain why do I have a hava v'yira. It's the fundamental truth itself. And Abba v'yira in the neshama is always present, because the neshama perceives this truth. So he's saying that once the neshamas are in the gufin, so even Abba v'sichli, Abba v'yira sichlim also become only represent the mitzias, only the ha'ora of the truth of Abba v'yira, not the etzem mitzias. Rak nevuah, only in exceptional case of nevuah, he gilui hamahus, there is the gilui hamahus, where the Navi actually perceives the mahus, the real presence itself, what he sees. Mipnei shehu b'bchinas hispashas hagashmiyus. Because Nevuah has this element that the Navi perceives things of the way the Neshama perceives things without involving the Gashmius itself. This is the union from Nevuah. This is why Nevuah, the Rebbe explains that there are two distinct levels. There's Chocham, the Gemara says, Odif min Navi. Chocham is greater than Navi. In what sense? That a Chocham can understand and can recognize and see things that are higher than what the Navi can see, that you can see with Nevuah. But on the other hand, there's a phenomenal superiority to Nevuah, but Nevuah actually perceives the Mahus, whereas Chochmah attends only to the Chitzonius, to the Hawara.
Rabbi?
Just 1 second. Chochmah like we are saying all the time, that the first principle is to know that there is a first being. What does that mean, to know there is a first being? It means that everything that I understand subsequently is substantiated by the fact that there is a first being. But it in itself is not a real presence. I constantly need to substantiate, it's real because it comes from the first being.
It comes from what?
From a first being. If you would see the Mahus or Inyan, you don't have to, there's no two steps in there. You see the reality itself. By Chochem, there is two separate steps. There is to know that there's a first being, and therefore we can then begin to apply Chochem. Like we say, Chochmah is the recognition that there is such a thing as a truth. That's not the truth itself, there is such a thing as a truth. Nevuah does not go through these steps. Nevuah, you see the Mahus Hadavar in itself. This is the Ratzon Elokei. Yes, Shmuel.
It's a strange term, hispashtus hagashmius. Hispashtus usually is used as an Indian of hisgavrus. Conquering, the spreading out, conquering, overcoming.
Right. The word hispashtus hagashmius over here does not mean that the gashmius is mispashit. It means that the neshama is the more correct word is hafshota somehow.
Ah,
hafshota.
Meaning
I'm removing.
Okay, got it. Capturing the tour.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen, this will be it for this morning. We'll meet tonight again. Tomorrow is at Reagan. Good Shabbos.
Oh, man.